The good game that we saw in the AFC was Bills-Ravens, a battle of two contenders. Buffalo coming back from behind down 20-3 to beat the Baltimore Ravens 23-20. Buffalo improves to 3-1. Another blown lead from the Baltimore Ravens. And there's a lot to get into with this game here. But Baltimore, they had the lead. They were in control. Then the second half, here comes Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills, and they stun the Ravens at home.
It's like we were doing. I love Sundays when there's a 9:30 game because – our producer, Stephen Bond, gives me liberty to just start rambling about the game so I can actually be in the booth for a moment. And I'm watching Buffalo-Baltimore, and, Baltimore jumps off to that 20-point lead and a 20-10 lead in the first half, and I'm thinking, we're going to have to get to 30 to win this game. Of course, Baltimore doesn't score a point in the second half, and they average 4.6 yards per play. They have 4 drives in the second half. 4 drives in the fourth quarter, and they don't get anything done with it. They had 21 plays, 2 interceptions in the fourth quarter, and they got 9 first downs. And we can talk about it. You can't. When you play Buffalo, you got to score all the time. You can't slow it down, and unfortunately, they couldn't.
The big decision that a lot of people are talking about at the end of the game was with 4:15 left to play in regulation. Tie game 20-20. The Ravens drove the ball to the 2-yard line. 4th and goal, John Harbaugh elects to go for it. Lamar Jackson throws an interception to Jordan Poyer in the end zone. So they don't even get the benefit of getting stopped there and the Bills having to go 90-plus yards. The Bills then get the touchback and start on their own 20. Here's what Harbaugh had to say about this after the game when asked about it by the media.
You're putting them out there. You're putting your defense at a disadvantage because they've got 4 downs to convert all the way down the field. And a chance to, again, score 7, and then you lose the game on a touchdown. So, and then the other thing, you think you're going to get the ball at the 2-yard line. So I'm very confident in our defense's ability to stop them down there with the ball on the 2-yard line. So we got them backed up if we don't get it. Didn't turn out that way, unfortunately, and we lost the game. So hindsight, you could take the points. But if you look at it analytically, I understand why we did it.
Michael, did you look at it analytically?
I don't understand the answer. First of all, I don't like 4th down in the first, second, or third quarter. I think it's got to be a calculated decision in those quarters. In the fourth quarter, there's no decision, right? Either you go for it or you don't, right? In the fourth quarter, you're managing the game. I get his point. Like what he's saying was, even though he's talking out of both sides of his mouth, if I kick this field goal, they're going to score a touchdown and beat me. That's what he's saying. I don't understand the 4 down. The 4th down was always going to be in play the entire, whether he kicked the field goal or kicked a touchdown. They were going to be on 4 downs the whole way down the field. I don't understand. I don't know why some writer didn't say to him, Coach, why isn't 4th down if you kick the field goal in play? Why isn't 4th down if you scored a touchdown in play? 4th down was going to be in play. And then you call a play where you don't even give your best player a chance to run pass. What's the benefit of having him as your player when you drop him back like he's Tom Brady? And then there's no coaching point here, right? If you want it, here's the point. If we don't have it, Lamar, throw it away. We'll back him up. If we don't have it, throw it away. Did somebody say that to him? I don't think so. Because they brought the ball back at the 20. I think, to me, the other thing is, Femi, is when you look at this game and you watch it and you see what did they do in the second half. I mean, the second half they had 4 possessions. They had 8 plays in the second quarter. They got 1 first down. A third quarter they got 1 first down, and they had the 21 in the fourth quarter, and they got 9 first downs. I mean, tell me when you were moving the ball in the second half. Tell me when. The Buffalo had it 4 possessions too. They had field goal, touchdown. They forced them to punt 1 time, and then they went 12 plays, 67 yards. So for me, why not take the points? I mean, why not take the points? You got a 3-and-out the series before. To me, I don't know why you don't give yourself a chance to win. And I bet Marcus Peters feels the same way. I'm sure that's why they were arguing.
Peters was fired up after the game. And while I actually agree with the decision that Harbaugh made, I don't agree with his rationale. I thought, like you said, talking out of both sides of his mouth. The reason why I would have gone for it on 4th down is because I don't think field goals are beating Josh Allen. And they've gotten those stops there, but you need touchdowns to try to beat Josh Allen. Field goals aren't going to cut it. We saw Buffalo drive, march right down the field there, 12 plays, 77 yards to end it. I think you needed to score a touchdown at that point, just based on how they had been moving the ball offensively all throughout that second half there with that Bills offense.
Well, but the weather, though, Femi, I mean, you got to play the weather into account, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the weather's huge here. And, there's a tip ball, there's maybe a fumble. When you're only down, the other thing is if you go for 3, are they going to be conservative once they get into field goal range? How much are they going to be willing to risk this? Right?
Yeah, possible.
I mean, and that's sometimes when you're down 4, you're more aggressive. When you're down 3, you want to make sure at least you get the game in overtime. Now, I think McDermott would have been, but, you get a penalty. They go 77 yards. Do you get a penalty on one of the drives? I just think, to me, I would have taken the points. And look, I think Baltimore played the game exactly how you have to play it. They win time of possession 38-10 to 21 minutes. Josh Allen, Josh Allen averages 5.3 a play. The total Bill offense. I mean, it's funny. This game, both quarterbacks led their teams in rushing. Both had 11 carries. Both averaged 6.4. One averaged 6.6. I mean, it was the single wing, but the difference was Baltimore couldn't make a play in the second half. I mean, this has got to worry you too, Femi, because every time Baltimore, I wrote this in my notes, every time Baltimore offensively plays against an elite coordinator, whether it's Leslie Frazier, Sean McDermott combined together, this offense seems to stagnate. And if I'm John Harbaugh, I'm sitting back there saying, wait a minute, that was a playoff game that reminds me of Tennessee. It reminds me, is this Lamar? Is this Lamar's problem when they defend him perfectly? Or is this our offensive problem? I think that's a fair question to ask going forward.
I've never been a believer in Greg Roman, and maybe it's a combination of Roman and Lamar or what's going on, but I think their scheme is just way too reliant on Lamar making plays that are against the elite teams. It's not going to happen. You can beat the other teams in the league, the middle-tier teams and all that, but one of the reasons why I like Buffalo to win this game was because the Bills are the best team in my opinion. Lamar might be playing like the best player, but you need more than that to beat the best team.
I mean, I gave Baltimore out as a pick on Chris Russo's show on Friday afternoon, and it ends up pushing. But I thought, to me, it would be a close game. I really did. I thought it was going to be one of those, and I thought, every time you can get Baltimore in 3 points with Tucker, I think you got to take it. You don't want to know why you lost the game? Mark Andrews has 5 targets, 2 catches for 15 yards. You take Mark Andrews out of their offense, where are they going? I mean, Bateman got hurt, had a key drop. He averaged 5.7 a catch. I mean, they made no explosive plays in the game. So I'm with you. I think, and I've said this for 3 years now, if I were Greg Roman, I would be an outside zone. He would be under center more, but that's not the case. Nobody's listening.
Should the Ravens have let the Bills score toward the end there after they used that final timeout?
They tried. They definitely tried. And all Buffalo wanted to do was to get the first down. That's all they wanted to do. They wanted to get that first down in there, and they were determined to not let them score. They did exactly that way.
That's great execution by the Bills in that situation.
It really was. I mean, they planned it out. They planned it so that the field goal wins the game, but they had no interest in scoring. That Baltimore was trying to push him in the end zone.
Yeah. And that's a difficult thing to do when the other team is just sitting on it and not wanting to score, knowing that you have no timeouts left. Thanks for watching the GM Shuffle with Michael Lombardi. And for more videos like this, make sure to subscribe to VSiN Live and the GM Shuffle podcast with Michael Lombardi, presented by DraftKings and VSiN, wherever you get your podcasts.